Okay, here we are, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 115, the final Power Rangers comic of the year. And I'm going to be honest, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers has been a hell of a ride this year. We started off at the start of the year with the Rita flashback of how she became Mistress Vile, and then we had Darkest Hour this year, and that kicked off as well when we got that announcement earlier at the start of the year. We also had two Power Rangers Unlimited books, that being the Coinless and the Hyperforce one-shot, and they were great. I really enjoyed them. But Darkest Hour has been on fire this past couple of months, and I've been loving every issue. Melissa has been killing it. And this issue we wrap up for the end of the year ends on a crazy cliffhanger, and I can't wait to see where it's going to go next moving forward. So, without any further ado, let's talk about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 115. So the issue opens up on Safe Haven, and you have Rita talking to Tommy, and she's trying to convince him to come back to her side and serve her once again, because she says, hey, I gave you a purpose, I gave you meaning, I'm the reason why, the whole reason you became a ranger, so come serve me again. And Tommy just laughs in her face and says, nah, I'm good, because he goes on to say that Zordon saved him, and the Rangers are his family, and they're the ones that give him hope and a reason to live. And he then goes on to say, and this is one line that I really did like in the comic, because it calls back to when the comics first started, all those years ago, when Tommy says, I saw you in my dreams for months after I broke free of your curse, and you haunted me. The trauma and guilt infested me. I still have nightmares. There's no thanking you, Rita. And I really like that callback that Melissa wrote in there, because like I said, it's a callback to how Tommy felt when this comic first started, because he had nightmares of what he'd done. He had nightmares of him killing the other Rangers, which sort of alluded and teased the Draken and the Carl Higgins run back in the day. But then it goes even deeper with how this goes on with the writing, where he says, there's no serving in an abuser. And I think you know that, because abuse is a cycle, and I've seen how he treats you. So, once again, Tommy being a boss in this comic and figuring out Rita right away, and you can tell with the reaction she gives on her face, it hit her really hard, because she gives this look that she's like concerned, but then she says, hey, how about I just let you rot in here? But what Tommy said about the cycle of abuse is something that many characters have brought up to Rita before, how she's got daddy issues, she moves from one villain to another to try and make them happy, and this is none other than the same. Like, Tommy's got it figured out as well. Grace pointed it out earlier before this whole story arc even went down. But yeah, you could say that Rita is in this cycle of abuse with all these different villains, and Dark Specter's no different than all the other villains that Rita serves. So there's that going on. After that, we then cut to Promethea on Earth, and we have our Rangers sorting out their counterattack to take down Dark Specter and sneak into Safe Haven. And this page I really enjoyed, because Matt's telling him the plan by saying, hey, for months, Mistress Vile recruited generals from all reaches of space and offered them rewards in the name of serving Dark Specter, and most of them remain loyal. And Draken's like, I didn't. And Coinless Trinity's like, no, you ran. And Draken tries clapping back by saying, well, would you rather have me on this side than hers? And Kimberly just chimes in by saying, I'd rather neither, honestly. And I really love how this scene is drawn, because like Trinity's doing the folded arms and closed eyes expression, and Kim's just like staring at her nails, even though she's got like the gloves on. She's just giving that I don't really give a fuck pose. I really enjoyed this panel with how it was drawn and just the interaction between all the characters. But Aisha chimes in and just says, hey, can you let Matt finish? But as Matt goes to finish, he has kind of like this mental breakdown as he remembers what Rita did to him. So he runs off and says he just needs a second. And Aisha follows him, and we get this scene where she does some breathing exercises with him to calm him down. And I really do like how this page is drawn as well, but it's a really nice Aisha and Matt moment where Aisha says, hey, I had some anxiety when I was younger and my parents put me into therapy, so I learned a few tricks. So this is a really nice moment between the two characters as they're just talking. And Matt says, like, I'm sorry, but I can't get it out of my head. And Aisha says, it's not your fault, but if you want to sit out this mission, you're more than welcome to. But Matt's like, I want to be okay again. And Aisha replies with, I know. So you still have Matt having that mental trauma that Tommy mentioned earlier, where he can't get Rita out of his head and it's still haunting him. But he's got some good friends beside him that can help him out and be of assistance. So I really like that scene here where they're hugging and they're sort of comforting each other, trying to make each other feel better. So this was like a really nice scene between the two characters. While this is going on, you've got the Rangers still in the meeting room discussing with everything going on, and you've got Draken hanging shit on Matt, calling him Greenie 2.0, calling him useless, and Coinless Trini is like, dude, just shut the fuck up. Don't be a dick right now. Can you not be you for like 5 seconds? And Draken's like, oh well, the trauma inflicted on the youth is very impressionable these days. Guess we'll have to move forward without his precious intel, although he didn't have much to begin with. So I really love how Draken's just a jerk ass in this situation. And Coinless Trini's like, dude, just stop it right now. But then Zach has an idea where he says there's an underground tunnel in Eternity Point, and real Trini, mainline Trini, goes on to say, Kivor and Yale found it when they were exploring one day. It nearly collapsed on them, but their plan is to sneak in and get closer enough to the chamber so they don't have to deal with a full-on assault once they enter Safe Haven. But they've also got to deal with, hey, once they're discovered, they're going to be dealing with a large army. So they think that Miss Morgan can think of something to help him out, but then Zordon's like, or perhaps. And then after that, we cut to the moon where Zordon does say there's another ranger we can call on. So this scene is kind of funny. So we've got Lord Zed in his moon palace. He's just chilling there. And Goldar comes in saying, my lord, we've received news that Rita is on Safe Haven. The time is right. We must take your Zord. And Lord Zed's like, nah, man, the Zord has stalled, you imbecile. It won't work right now. So we're just going to stay here. And Goldar's like, oh, what if we get another ship? And Lord Zed's like, no, she's got an army. Let's not do that. And Dark Specter. So I feel like that Lord Zed is just chilling out here and just waiting for everything to blow over because he knows how powerful Dark Specter is. And even he knows that he can't win this fight, so he's just going to chill back here and wait for all of this to blow over. I could be wrong, but Lord Zed's not on the battlefield, but whenever Goldar shoots him an idea, he quickly turns him down. So is Lord Zed scared of what's happening right now, or is he just thinking of a different plan? I don't know, but suddenly a meteor comes crashing down, and this scene was really funny as well, where they think it's a bomb, and Goldar goes, it's a bomb, run Lord Zed, I'll use my body to cover it and give you time to escape. But it's not a bomb, what it turns out to be is a beacon, and Zordon comes to give Lord Zed a offer, and that being saying, hey, Promethea will let you keep the Zord if you help us. But Lord Zed's like, hey, that Promethea tech is attached to Serpentera, it belongs to me. And like I said, Zordon goes to say, hey, we'll let you keep it, you just gotta help us out first. And I really enjoy it when Zordon goes to make bargains with his allies. You saw that in Shattered Grid when he went to approach Rita to make a deal with her when they did the assault on the Moon Palace against Draken. And again, I like it here with Zordon trying to bargain with Lord Zed because he knows that Lord Zed wants to take out Rita. So he's trying to find a deal to compromise with him. And those two used to be allies back in the day, so they have some kind of understanding with what both sides want. So I really do like that. And not only that, like I said, it was a funny scene with the villains, with Babu and Goldar here. I definitely got a kick out of with the comedy writing that Melissa put in there. So next up is a really nice moment between Kimberly and Jason, because we haven't had these two characters interacting much within the past couple of years of the comics because we've had the Omega Ranger stuff, and the two characters have been off doing their own thing, so it's nice to have these two original Rangers interacting with one another, but they do have a very deep conversation with one another. So Kimberly is treating Jason's head injuries that he got from Matt before Darkest Hour even started, and Jason says that he can't pretend that he's not a Ranger anymore. Well, then Kimberly goes on to say by saying she doesn't even know what it means to be a Ranger at this point because Draken, Kia, and Lord Zed, they're all Rangers. She doesn't even know how that's fair, and in what universe does this make sense? Everything is shattered, and now there's no rules. So, before she can go on and keep talking, Jason interrupts by saying, is there any word from Tommy? And she says no. But she then tells Jason by saying, hey, if we don't make it back, they're coming from Earth, and there won't be any Rangers here to defend it, so promise me that you will. And Jason says that he promises. So, this was a really nice moment between the two characters that we had, as they're at their breaking points. Like, Kimberly's at her breaking point, as a lot of people have been speculating that after Darkest Hour, this is when Kimberly's going to retire and probably Kat will take over being a Ranger in this alternate timeline. And this is like the worst that the Rangers have ever been, as they're pushed to their limits with this whole Dark Specter stuff in Darkest Hour. So every choice that they make matters, and like I said, they've been pushed up against the wall here, so every decision they make counts, and if they mess up, well, that's the entire universe done for. And if they fail on this mission, then that's possibly all the Rangers done for as well, with everything going on. So yeah, this was a really nice moment between the two characters, and I really enjoyed it. Alright, so the next couple of pages of this comic is when shit hits the fan. So, we're back on Safe Haven, and you have Dane just staring at Coda and Tyler, and he's wondering what goes on in their head if they're mind controlled. And Finster says, well, whatever personality they had has been locked away, and all they do is they serve Mistress Vile and Dark Specter. So we kind of get a glimpse and a hint of how these powers work when the Rangers are controlled, because their personality is taken over and their will is stripped away, and all they can do is serve evil. So Dane's kind of shocked about that with everything going on, but Finster does warn him by saying, hey, be careful, because Dark Specter is not one for forgiveness, and you'll end up just like the Death Ranger. So on the next page, we then cut to Dark Specter torturing the Death Ranger and inflicting like the dark energy on them, and Dark Specter goes on to say to Spiark by saying, hey, I gave you power, I gave you victory over death itself, and in return I asked for one thing, obedience and servitude, and you went behind my back and went to Earth. And Death Ranger's like, Master, I only meant to claim new Rangers to strengthen my army for you. And Dark Specter just kicks them right in the face by saying, you have no army, even your body belongs to me, Spiark, and you no longer deserve it. But before Dark Specter can deliver the finishing blow to the Death Ranger, Rita says, allow me to rectify my mistakes from earlier and take care of this problem. And even Dark Specter's like, hey, you dare to rob me of this moment? You dare to rob me of my anger? And Rita goes, I only seek your pleasure, as they are not worthy of you or your anger. So once again, Rita is kissing ass to Dark Specter just to make him happy. So then on the next page, Dark Specter's like, yeah, whatever, do what you must. And then you have Rita just unleashing, I guess, her magic wand onto the Death Ranger, and all you hear is screaming as the Death Ranger begs for their life and says, I can still help you. And we don't know the fate of this character, so it looks like they get obliterated into nothing, but we don't really get an answer because you just hear screaming. And then on the next page is when the assault on Safe Haven fully begins. So after that, we then cut outside of Safe Haven, where you have the Hyperforce Zord and the Serpentera Zord crashing down, and Lord Zed is just wrecking shit. And he is just going ham with everything going on. So this gives an opportunity for our other rangers to sneak in underground, as Lord Zed was the distraction. But Kendall goes on to say by saying, hey, Lord Zed attacked way too early, and Billy replies with, well, he was a distraction. And then Kendall retorts by saying, yeah, he was, but now the Hyperforce Rangers are paying the price because Lord Zed acted too early. But Billy does agree by saying, yeah, you're right, and now the group is outside is getting overwhelmed, and they'll have to pull back. So the next page is even crazier, as you have Coinless Bulk, and he points out saying, we've got a bit of an issue here. And then on the next page, you have 11 fused with Alpha 1, or should I say Alpha 1 fused with 11. And this design is terrifying, as he's like even bigger now. He's got bits of 11 and Alpha 1 in there, and it is just a really cool design. I freaking love this combination between the two different robots. Like, I was wondering what the hell happened to 11, because he never got the hell out of there when Darkest Hour began, and stuff was already going down to look like he might be in trouble. But now we know this guy's fate, and he's become one with Alpha 1, and like I said, his design looks freaking crazy. So Alpha 1 shows up with the Dino Charge Rangers and the Wild Force Rangers and Rocky and Adam, and this is when a full-scale battle takes place between both sides. And while this is going on, you've still got the Hyperforce Rangers and Lord Zed Zord trying to fight off the Thrall, but things aren't working. They need to escape, but Lord Zed refuses, so the Hyperforce Rangers just hightail it out of there with the Lord Zed Zord. So while this is going down, you've got all the fighting going on, and things aren't looking good for our Rangers, as Kimberly soon gets attacked by Mistress Vile, and Dark Specter shows up as well, saying how convenient that these Rangers came to him. Now, this is where things get even more crazy, because Bulk jumps in, Coinless Bulk jumps in to take the blast for Kimberly, but still both of them get hit, and Kimberly is forced to unmorph due to all the damage she's taking, and she's grabbed by all the thralls, and she calls out to Draken. And as she's calling out to Draken, Draken is just walking by the entire battle and says good luck to Kimberly. And Draken just walks towards the Master Arch while this big battle is going on and begins to activate it again. So Draken once again is hightailing it out of the battle. He's caring about only himself again, but he's leaving this dimension. So once again, Draken is running away. Shit hits the fan, and Draken runs away. But is he doing this because he knows that shit is going down and he can't win? Or is he going somewhere where he can find some more allies because he ends up walking through the Master Arch? But the issue ends with Draken walking through the Master Arch, and you see a mysterious figure watching him. Who is that mysterious figure? Well, it's none other than Ranger Slayer in her Draken form, and she is now Dark Specterized, and she's got the whole Dark Specter motif going on, and she watches Draken leave. So that's where this issue ends. It ends on a crazy cliffhanger like that. And seeing Ranger Slayer at the end of this issue blew my mind because, you know, next year in January, we're going to be getting 116 and the Morphin Masters book one-shot. And those two issues tie into each other. And now we're getting bits and pieces with everything going on. So now we're going to see how Ranger Slayer survived. But not only that, we'll find out, like, how did she become controlled, which you can probably guess with how the Coinless ended, but how did she end up in this world, and how is this all going to tie together into the Morphin Masters one-shot, and what's going to happen moving forward. So, either way, this issue was really solid. I really enjoyed it, definitely got a kick out of it, because it looks like we're getting closer and closer to the end game of Darkest Hour, and I do wonder how this story arc is going to end, because we've got a couple more issues to go. I think roughly about 9 more issues to go of Darkest Hour before it comes to an end. So I do wonder if the battle is going to end at like 120, and then after that is going to be sort of like the aftermath of Darkest Hour moving forward. It's hard to say at this point, but yeah, it looks like we're in like endgame territory, but this is the part of the story where our heroes are in deep shit, and I do wonder how they're going to get out of this, because they've walked into the wasp's nest here, and how are they going to get out of this one? I mean, Dark Specter's there, they've got an entire army on their side, and our heroes are just being overwhelmed, so where is this going to go moving forward, and how are they going to get out of this one, and where the hell did Draken go? Those are the questions I hope we get answers to in next month's issue of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But overall, what did you think of this issue? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Tell me in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Well, with that said, I'm out of here. Have a wonderful day or night. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video, and have a happy new year. Peace out, take care, bye.